Hey, James here from goodguitarist.com, and welcome to our Barre Chord mini-series where we're going to show you how to play the most common bar chord shapes. We're going to show you how to navigate the fretboard without any memorization, just a simple trick that helps you count up and down the strings to figure out what chords you're playing so you can play F sharp and all that stuff. And then we're going to show you the proper technique so that you can play them for longer and without hurting yourself. And they'll be much cleaner because you'll be relaxed and all that good stuff. In this part, we're going to show you the two most common bar chord shapes. It's a major one and a minor one that's really easy to make once you make the first one. And we're going to show you some strength building exercises so that you can build up to bar chords, because I wouldn't expect any of my students to get bar chords right away. This is something that you really need to just build up to. So that's what we're going to do here, is we're going to build up from 0 all the way to being able to play all the way up and down the fretboard with all these different shapes, and so you actually understand what you're doing. Let's go for it. So here's our bar chord shape. And what makes bar chords so cool is that you can just move them around. So this is A. We play A flat, G, G flat. We go all the way up and down the neck. Well, if we keep going down, we get to a point where we can't move any lower, and that's at the F chord. So our first finger is lined up at the first fret. Now, if we do go one fret lower, our first finger is redundant because there's already this white piece of plastic holding all the strings down there. But if you notice, we get an E chord shape when we do that. Now, that's where this bar chord shape comes from. All we're doing is we're taking the E shape and we're bringing it further up the neck. So let's just start a bar chord from scratch now. We're going to make the E chord bar shape because that's the most common and the most useful. And here we have our E shape, the plain old E shape that we're all super familiar with. And instead of playing it like this, I want you to play it using these 3 fingers. So we'll take our third finger and place it on the second fret of the A string. And then we're going to take our fourth finger, we're going to put it right underneath it on the second fret of the D string. So that's what we have so far. Then we're going to take our middle finger, or our second finger, we're going to put it right here on the first fret of G. So we have the E chord shape just with these 3 fingers instead. And we drag the shape up. And if we just drag the shape up, it doesn't sound too majory. We need to put our first finger down. We need to bring up the open strings. In the same way we dragged up the shape, we have to drag up the open strings. And this is kind of the same thing as using a capo, except you can move the capo, which makes it way more versatile. See, because if I put the capo there, played my E shape, I get a G major chord. Well, let's do it with those 3 fingers instead, and let's replace the capo with that finger. And this works for a bunch of chords. You can do this for your C chord, for a D chord, A minor, E minor. And another cool thing we can do with it, see, this is the major shape because we took an E major chord and then we brought it up the fretboard. Well, we can also do the same thing with the E minor chord. This is a G minor chord. So we took that E minor shape, we moved the shape up, and then we took our finger down. And another way to think about it is you can just take the major bar chord and then just remove that finger and you get the minor one, which is super convenient because when you think about it, now you know 2 chords in each spot. So this is A major. You just take that finger off. Now you know A minor. And a really good exercise for getting into this bar chord shape is to play the E shape with these 3 fingers, not with your first, but with the other ones. And then drag it up somewhere, say, I don't know, up here to line up our first finger with the 7th fret, and then try it up here with the bar. And it can be really tough. That's the one thing with bar chords, is they actually require quite a bit of physical strength in your fingers. And the better your technique is, the less energy you're going to waste, the more efficient you'll be. Because if you just squeeze as hard as you can, you're going to hurt yourself. You know, you kind of got to squeeze in the right places and put just enough energy into it just to find that balance. But even then, I would never expect a student to get it right away. You kind of got to build up to it. And a really good exercise for that I use is I just practice barring 2 strings. That's the very first thing we do. So let's start in the middle here where the tension's a bit lower at the 7th fret. So just count up all the way to the 7th fret. And we just want to put our finger down on the top 2 strings, and that's it. And then we're going to play them separately so you can hear them, because if you play them together, you might just get one. And then we're going to bring it up to the 12th fret, and then back down, and then down to the 1st fret, and then back up. So let's just try that. Just so we're at the 12th fret, we're going to come back now. And then once you've gotten that with 2 strings, you're going to want to try 3 strings, doing the exact same thing. Now I'm not going to bring you through the whole exercise, just show you a little example. So we have 3 strings here. And you can do that as far up as you want to go, depending on how many frets your guitar has. And it's definitely worthwhile to learn how to bar up high. But for now, you're going to want to stick to kind of this zone just to work it out, because up here there's a whole bunch of issues with the frets getting really squeezed together. And so just around the 7th fret is the most comfortable spot I've found. Anyways, once you've done that with 3 strings, you're going to want to try it with 4, then 5, and then 6. And if you notice, when I do all 6 strings, sometimes I reinforce it with that finger, and that's totally fine if that finger is free. For instance, with the B major chord, which is from the E shape, we just drag it up. I don't have any free fingers, so this guy's kind of on his own. But for the B minor chord, remember we took that finger off, we made the minor chord, you can actually reinforce your first finger with it to make it just a little bit easier, because when you think about it, this finger has to press down 4 strings. We're pressing down 2 with these guys, so it's not too concerned with those 2 strings, but the rest of them, that's pretty tough. So it's okay if you reinforce it. It's not a crime against guitar or anything, just do whatever feels comfortable and don't hurt yourself. That's the biggest thing. Don't push and be like, I'm going to get this, and then injure your wrist. And then it'll take you a lot longer because you have to recover and build up to it. So just take your time, do that bar chord exercise where you just start with 2 strings, 3, 4, 5, and that'll help you get that shape. So that's it for the E major and E minor bar chord shapes. Stick around for the next episode where we're going to show you a couple more shapes. We're going to show you how to navigate all the way up and down the fretboard, and we're going to show you how to play bar chords in a way that makes them a lot easier. If you want, you can check out this lesson on our website, and there's an article that has a whole bunch of stuff, backing tracks that you can play along with, diagrams. Basically, it's meant for you to just go there and just practice along for as long as you can, 15 minutes, however long. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.